Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into something fascinating. What does it actually take to speak like the top 1%?
Yeah, and it's interesting because the source material we looked at, it suggests it's not about being the loudest person in the room.
Not at all. It's about engagement, real deep engagement.
Exactly. We've been digging into this great YouTube video by Dan Martell. He lays out these 5 principles of top 1% speakers.
And what's cool is how broad they are. He uses them for, podcasts like this, but also for huge keynote speeches, like $100,000 gigs.
Absolutely universal.
So our mission here is to really unpack these principles, make them actionable for you.
Yeah, give you a shortcut, basically, so you can walk away feeling hopefully more confident, more compelling when you speak.
Whether you're just starting out or you're already pretty good but want to get, really good, these insights are gold.
They really are.
Okay, so let's jump in. Principle number 1, embrace the nerves.
Ah, yes. This one's huge, right? Because, who doesn't get nervous?
Totally. Martell even quotes that saying, most people would rather be in the casket than present the eulogy.
Which sounds pretty extreme, but it really highlights how intense that fear is for so many.
It does paint a picture. But here's the interesting part. He says anxiety and excitement are basically the same thing, the same emotion.
Pretty much, yeah. And understanding that is kind of a game changer.
How so? Like, if you're feeling those butterflies, how does knowing that help?
Well, it lets you reframe it. So instead of thinking, oh no, what if I mess up? You can shift it to, okay, this feeling just means I really care. I care about this talk. I care about connecting with these people.
So you turn the focus outwards, away from yourself.
Exactly. You stop worrying about how you look or sound and start thinking about how you can serve the audience. It repurposes that nervous energy. It becomes fuel, not fear.
I like that, repurposing the energy. He also talks about flipping nerves into gratitude, asking yourself, how can I be grateful for this chance to serve these people?
Yeah, it's a powerful shift. And he brings up FEAR, false evidence appearing real.
Right. Because let's be honest, the world isn't going to end if you stumble on a word.
Exactly. You're not going to lose your job. People aren't going to, point and laugh. We build up these crazy worst-case scenarios in our heads.
So true. Why do we do that?
Well, Martell's point is that nervousness isn't weakness. It's actually energy. He says, no motion without emotion.
Meaning
that buzzy, jittery feeling. The audience feels that too, but they often interpret it as passion, as excitement. That energy can actually make you a better, more engaging speaker.
Okay, that's a much better way to think about it. It's not about eliminating nerves, but channeling them.
Precisely.
So once you've kind of made peace with the nerves, maybe even started using them, what's next? That takes us to principle 2. Know your preparation.
Yeah, and Martell's really strong on this. He talks about expertise, like deep expertise.
He says he wouldn't talk about anything he hasn't put, 10,000 hours into?
Yeah, 10,000 hours. His examples were things like buying back my time or scaling companies, stuff he's actually lived and breathed for years.
So it's about authenticity, speaking from real experience, not just book knowledge.
Exactly. Serving the audience from a place of genuine, hard-won understanding.
And definitely no winging it.
Oh, he's very clear on that. You don't rise to the occasion, he says.
You fall to the level of your preparation. Yeah, I remember that line.
And winging it is for the birds, not the speakers. Pretty blunt.
Yeah, it is. But okay, here's a question. Doesn't too much preparation risk sounding like robotic or stiff?
That's a fair point. But his approach isn't about memorizing a script word for word.
Right. So what does he mean by preparation then?
It's about structure and key moments. Knowing your beginning perfectly, knowing exactly where you want to end up, and having a crystal clear call to action.
Okay.
And he talks about creating a visual outline, mapping out the beats of your stories.
Beats of your stories, like the key points or emotional moments.
Exactly. Metaphors, the central message, the main stories. It's like a map of the journey you're taking the audience on, not a detailed transcript.
Okay, like a storyboard. That makes more sense for staying natural.
Yeah. And he suggests practicing differently, too, like having friends quiz you, flashcard style, on your main points or metaphors.
Oh, interesting. Practicing the components, not just reciting the whole thing.
Practicing with your visual map. So the core ideas are rock solid, even if you need to adjust on the fly, like, say, filling an extra half hour unexpectedly.
Wow. Yeah, that would require solid prep. He also mentioned studying the greats, right? Watching top TED Talks.
Yep. Go on YouTube, find the most viewed presentations, and just absorb their energy. Not to copy them, but to get into that headspace of powerful delivery.
Makes sense. Okay, so you're prepared, you've got your structure. How do you actually deliver those insights in a way that connects?
Well, that leads perfectly into principle number 3. Tell stories, not facts.
This feels so crucial. We hear it a lot, but Martell really emphasizes it.
Absolutely. He says people won't remember every single thing you said, but they will remember how you made them feel.
And stories are the key to feeling.
Exactly. He breaks down why they work so well. First, they position you as an expert without you having to brag.
How so?
By sharing personal stuff, he mentions things like his own upbringing or his ADHD diagnosis or even just observations you've made. It shows your depth, your experience, your vulnerability sometimes. It builds credibility instantly.
It makes you relatable, too, not just some talking head listing credentials.
Right. Second, stories create, he calls it glue for learning.
Glue.
Yeah, like the emotion of the story helps the lesson or the point stick in people's minds. He used an example of a cowboy story to illustrate going after what you want. The feeling of the story makes you remember the point.
Okay, that makes sense. Emotion locks in memory.
And third, they're incredibly practical for timing. Stories can expand or contract.
Oh, yeah, he mentioned being on Tony Robbins' stage.
Yeah. He suddenly had an extra 30 minutes to fill. Instead of panicking, he just decided to tell longer stories, let the points land more deeply, no stress.
That's brilliant. Such a useful tool. But why are stories so much better than just presenting the data, especially if you're trying to persuade or sell something?
Well, fundamentally, our brains are just wired for narrative. Facts engage the logical part, sure, but stories light up much more emotional centers, sensory areas.
So the whole brain experience.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Way more memorable, way more engaging. And if you think you don't have a personal story for a certain point,
Yeah, what then?
use analogies, metaphors, similes. He even suggests using AI, like ChatGPT, to brainstorm metaphors if you're stuck.
Seriously, using AI for storytelling.
Hey, whatever works to find the right way to connect. The main takeaway is clear. Stories sell, facts tell. It leads to more bookings, more sales, more impact.
Okay, stories are powerful, which seems to lead naturally to the next principle, number 4. Make it about them,
This one really underpins everything else, I think. It's the core philosophy.
which is,
Focus on serving the audience, not impressing them. Simple, but profound.
and he says this actually reduces your own stress.
Absolutely. Because if your whole focus is on pouring energy into each person, trying to genuinely help them, you literally don't have the mental bandwidth to worry about how you're coming across or engaging in, what did he call it? Success theater.
Huh. Success theater. I like that. It's about being genuinely present for them.
And expressing gratitude for their time, too.
Yeah.
Really acknowledging that they chose to be there, listening to you.
So practically, how do you do that? How do you make it about them?
He gives some really concrete techniques. First, know your room, do your homework, understand their industry, their challenges, what they need to hear from you.
Tailor the message. Makes sense.
Second, lock eyes on them one at a time.
Not just scanning the crowd.
No, really connecting with individuals.
Yeah.
Making people feel seen. He says when you lock in with them, they lock in with you.
Okay, that feels more personal. What else?
Third, ask questions that make them think, make them ponder.
Like rhetorical questions.
Sort of, but more personal reflection. He gave an example like, who are your two people? Your ride or dies. It shifts the focus from you performing to them reflecting. It becomes about their thoughts, not just your information.
So it changes the dynamic from presentation to interaction almost.
Exactly. And he reassures us, you might worry they already know stuff or they'll judge you, but just being up there, communicating clearly, and genuinely caring, just loving on them, as he puts it, that's often enough for people to connect.
That sounds great, but let's be real. It must be hard to maintain that audience focus when you're also managing your own nerves, trying to remember your points.
It definitely takes practice, but that's actually where the final principle comes in. It's the foundation that makes all the other stuff easier, more natural.
Okay. Principle number 5, I have a primary question, or what we're calling cultivate inner presence.
Yeah, this one goes deep. Stage presence starts with inner presence.
Show up with intention, not tension. I like that phrase.
Me too. It's about your internal state, the energy you bring before you even open your mouth.
And he shares his own personal question for this.
He does. He asks himself, how can I appreciate even more God's grace and guidance in this moment? Now, obviously, that's personal to him, but the principle is universal.
What's the principle there?
It's about centering yourself, connecting to something bigger than your own ego or anxieties. For him, it's faith. For someone else, it might be their core values or their deep commitment to the audience's growth or just immense gratitude. It calms you, centers you, makes it about service.
So finding your own version of that centering question or thought.
Exactly. It helps you show up with that clear intention, ready to connect authentically.
It feels like this principle enables all the others. Like
Mm.
if you're not centered internally, it's way harder to genuinely focus on the audience, or tell stories authentically, or even manage your nerves effectively.
Absolutely. It's the bedrock. He connects this inner state to two big lessons from his decades as an entrepreneur.
Okay, what are they?
First, strive every day to be your 10.0 self.
Your 10.0 self.
Yeah, like the best possible version of you. Think of stacking up all your best moments. Or if you're religious, maybe it's the person you were divinely created to be. Aiming for your peak potential.
Okay, strive for your best self. And the second,
Share that self with the world. Don't hide it.
so be your best and be willing to share it.
Right. When you combine those, you build that strong inner foundation. And the result, he describes it as this giddy feeling.
Giddy.
Yeah, like excitement because you know you have something valuable, something transformative that the audience doesn't know yet, but they're going to love it when they hear it. That's the feeling, he says, of being a world-class speaker.
Wow. Okay, so just to recap these 5 principles we've unpacked from the source.
Yeah, first, embrace the nerves, reframe them as care and energy.
Second, know your preparation, fall back on deep expertise and structured outlines, not scripts.
Third, tell stories, not facts, connect emotionally, make learning stick.
Fourth, make it about them, serve, don't impress, connect individually.
And fifth, cultivate inner presence, center yourself with intention before you even start.
These really feel like practical tools, not just theory. Things anyone can use to connect better when they speak.
Totally agree. It's a full framework, really. It covers the inner game and the outer delivery. It's about how you embody the message.
So maybe the final thought for everyone listening is this. Next time you have to speak, could be a big presentation, could just be sharing an idea in a meeting. Think beyond just what you're going to say.
Yeah, think about who you want to be for that audience in that moment.
How could that inner intention, that focus on serving and sharing your real self, change the whole experience? For you and for them.
That shift alone could be transformative.